Hey, what is good, YouTube? It's your boy Supreme Latias 14, and welcome to another installment of my Pokemon Unite Deep Dive series, where we take a look at a Pokemon, talk about it in full depth, and talk about whether it is worth purchasing with your Eos coins. So, you guys already know what Pokemon we're going to be going for in this video because you guys already seen the title. We're going to be going over the evil little gremlin that has really been a thorn in everybody's name ever since it came out into Pokemon Unite. That's right, we are going to be covering Sableye. Now, this is a Pokemon that a lot of people do not like because of what it's able to do. It has some pretty dumb passives. It has some pretty dumb things that make this Pokemon just so annoying, so crazy. But what makes Sableye so annoying is you guys are probably wondering, what does make Sableye so annoying? Well, in this video we're going to be talking about just that. If you guys don't know what Sableye is capable of, it is a supporter, of course. And one thing it's really good at is being absolutely destructive. Being able to disrupt the enemy team, being able to hide itself in the clash and hide itself with stealth. It's really stupid. It's really stupid. So anyways, if you guys do enjoy this video, if you do forgive me for talking about this evil little gremlin, go ahead and drop that like button, hit the subscribe if you guys enjoy, and of course, hit the bell, of course, if you guys do enjoy these type of videos. And so this way you guys will be notified whenever I post a video or whenever I do a stream. So following this video, I will be having a video talking about the latest patch notes, which I do want to talk about those, of course. But in this video, we're going to be talking about this evil little gremlin here. So let's go ahead and get into it. So Sableye here, of course, is a supporter, a melee supporter, but it's a supporter that is its job. It's pretty much just to disrupt the enemy team. He's out here just to wreak havoc, to wreak havoc on all the enemy souls, basically. As you guys can hear the music in the background. If it's too loud, I apologize. I was just trying to get this thing perfectly adjusted, honestly, for you guys. But nevertheless, we're here. So let's go ahead and talk about Sableye. So, as you guys already know, it is a supporter. Its offense is not the greatest. Its endurance, mobility is not too bad. Where it really does shine in is where it's a support and when it's scoring, because this Pokemon is really great being able to avoid a lot of things, honestly. Well, not really avoid a couple things, but being able to enter stealth mode to avoid being seen, honestly. Well, that is until you get near an enemy or if you get near a goal, basically. So, basically, let's talk about this Pokemon. So let's talk about his basic attack effects, and then we're going to his passive, and then we're going to go into his attacks and talk about what makes this Pokemon so disgusting. So let's go ahead and let's get into this. So Sableye's boosted basic attack, basically it becomes a boosted attack with every third attack, dealing damage to opposing Pokemon it hits and decreasing their movement speed for a short time. If the user is in stealth when it hits an opposing Pokemon with a boosted attack, it will deal damage and apply a fear effect. Opposing Pokemon affected by fear will be forced to move away from the user. When the user enters stealth, it will be able to use the boosted attack immediately. So basically, when you're in stealth mode, you're basically gonna get access to your boosted attack right out the gate, which is pretty crazy, actually. And then any opposing Pokemon that when you hit them with the boosted attack, you're basically doing damage and then making them scared of you, basically. So I think that's really dumb. I think that's honestly really dumb, honestly. And now let's talk about what makes Sableye just so ridiculous, and that is, of course, its passive. We have Prankster. Well, one of the things, of course, but Prankster is an ability that when this Pokemon, basically, when a Pokemon with this ability is outside the visual range of Pokemon from the opposing team, this allows it to enter stealth mode, and then it gets a movement speed increase. So basically, you're basically visible. You're basically invincible when there's no enemies near you, or if you're not near a goal, basically. So when this Pokemon with the ability enters the visual range of a Pokemon from the opposing team, it does not immediately become visible, but instead remains in stealth for a short time, and then the Pokemon with the ability exits stealth when it attacks, basically. So this passive right here is the reason why Sableye is feared by many players. why people dislike this Pokemon, why this Pokemon is just a thorn in a lot of people's way, honestly. And this passive is pretty much why. You're able to be in stealth mode, you have movement speed, you're able to basically maneuver yourself across the field without being seen, which is honestly really dumb. This is pretty much the reason why Sableye was just it's just feared so much. Honestly, it's ridiculous what this Pokemon is capable of. Considering it is a support and basically is just it's just so dumb basically. And I've recently just started picking up Sableye. If you haven't been checking out my last two streams I did, I've been playing Sableye. I have joined the dark side. Anyways, let's go ahead and go into its progression here. So obviously, Sableye is a Pokemon that doesn't evolve. So, and it says here it provides team support by inflicting status conditions on opponents and by healing highlights. Well, in this case, Sableye supports the team by hindering the opponents and it's a heavy hinderer for sure. Now we're gonna go ahead and go into his moves and talk about what they do basically. So. Sableye's Pokemon, you definitely want to take this to lane, but you can also use this to invade, which is pretty funny. But yeah. Anyways, so level 1, you have a choice between Thief and Astonish. So let's go ahead and talk about Thief first, because this is the move that I think this move is kind of dumb, especially in the early game. So what this move allows you to do is basically, it has to use your dash in a designated direction, dealing damage to any opposing Pokemon it hits, and decreasing their movement speed for a short time. And then if this move hits Pokemon from the opposing team, it steals a small amount of their Aeos energy. If those Pokemon do not have any Aeos energy, they will be left unable to act for a short time. So this is a starting move that is super dumb early game, because if the enemy team actually ends up stacking, then if they only have 5 points, use this move, you take those 5 points, and then all of a sudden they have no points to stack at all. It's so dumb. And then if they don't have any Aeros energy, they just basically get stunned for a short time. It's so stupid. Being able to stun the enemy, being able to steal points from the enemy is so ridiculous. And also, especially if they're trying to stack early game, like if they only have 5 points or anything under that, you know, you're basically denying them stacking like hard early game, honestly. One way, of course, you can mitigate this is if before you stack, you have at least a little 1 point over 5 points. If you're above 5 points, even if they hit you with a Thief, you'll still be able to stack. But if you have 5 or less points, you're basically gonna get hard deny stacks right out the gate. So, yeah, this is pretty crazy. And then this other move, Astonish, basically is a move that has the user attacking a cone that in front of itself, dealing damage to opposing Pokemon, and then decreases their movement speed for a short time. And then this move happens to hit an opposing Pokemon from behind. So basically, if you attack a Pokemon behind it, this move does increased damage and a greater decrease in movement speed. So basically, the effects that this move has are stronger if you are able to attack a Pokemon behind his back, basically. So if you stand behind it, use this move, the effects are stronger, basically, versus if you were choose to attack it from the front or from the side, basically. So basically, use this move to attack attack an enemy from the back, and they're stunned, and the effects are more stronger, basically. So that's how that works. So now let's go ahead and go into his next moves, which is the moves here. We have Knock Off and Shadow Sneak. So we're going to talk about Shadow Sneak here, because Shadow Sneak was the move that everybody was using before, and then it recently got a bit of it did get a nerf before on it, and we're going to talk about how that is, basically. So Shadow Sneak here is, for a short time, increases the user's movement speed and has it enter stealth. While the user is in stealth, its first boosted basic attack deals additional damage. While this move is active, and if the user exits stealth and hindrance is not left unable to act, it will be able to enter stealth again. Now that last line was pretty much the nerf. So before, even if Sableye did get hit by a hindrance, with this move you were able to enter stealth. They made it so, like, if you're pretty much able to, like, inflict the hindrance, if you could avoid basically getting hit by a hindrance onto Sableye, then this move just allows you to go back into stealth. But now they changed it to where if you get hit by a hindrance, Well, they worded it as capacitated, but I think it's more of a the term hindrance here. So I'm not sure why they didn't just use a hindrance. But now if you get hit by a hindrance, after you shadow sneak, if you get hit by a hindrance, you will no longer be able to enter stealth. Basically, it stops you from going into stealth. Then you have to wait. You have to apply your passive in order to enter stealth. Basically, you don't go into stealth until you have your passive. Basically, that's how it works. And then when you get your upgrade, it increases the durations of this move's effects. And then while this move isn't active and the user isn't stealth, it will also gradually recover HP. So this move was great, was absolutely ridiculous because it was able to stunt to have Sableye enter stealth, being able to do additional damage while you're in stealth, right? Yes. While the user's in stealth is burst, boosted basic attack deals additional damage basically. So you're basically you were able to stack additional damage off of the your boosted basic from your basic attack effects, and then you're basically was making it stronger basically. But now that they nerfed it to the point where if you do get hit with a hindrance as you're using this move, like after you have used this move, I believe that's how it works. And if you get hit by a hindrance, you basically don't go into stealth basically. So that's how it works. So I'm not sure if people still play this or not, but this move was absolutely ridiculous, of course, back in the day. Of course, before they received that nerf. So, as a matter of fact, I think I might still have the notes as to exactly what I'm talking about. So I think it's this one. Let me double check. No, other one. Yeah, here we go. So basically, this was say. Oh wait, I need a. Hang on. Let me make this bigger so you guys can see. So basically, it says here Shadow Sneak now takes 1.5 seconds to enter stealth, and then if you get incapacitated before entering stealth, you won't be able to enter stealth. So basically, that basically words the term hindrance basically. So basically what they mean by that is hindrance. So if you get hit by I'm pretty sure if you get hit by a hindrance, you won't be able to enter stealth basically. I'm pretty sure that's how it works. So, but if I'm incorrect, I do apologize. But I'm just showing you. I just wanted to show you guys the wording in case you guys didn't see that other video I made talking about those nerfs before. Now let's go ahead and talk about knockoff here, which is its other move. This move is basically thief, but it's a bit more hilarious. So knockoff has to use a move in designated direction and then back again while attacking around itself, dealing damage to opposing Pokemon hit by the attacks and leaving them unable to act for a short time. And then for a short time afterwards, the move can be used again. Basically, the moves can be used again. So basically, you have yourself 2 hits, I believe, out of that. So you dash into one direction and then you go back in the opposite direction. So basically, you get 2 attacks off of this, and then for a short time afterwards, this move can be used again. So basically, it has 3 phases of attacks. So the first hit, when you use it for the first time, the second hit is when you go back, and then the third hit, and then you have yourself a third hit. But you basically have yourself a little bit of a third hit, of course, so on that. For a short time afterwards, the move can be used again. If it is, the user attacks in front of itself with its claws, dealing damage to opposing Pokemon it hits, and shoving him. So yeah, there's 3 hits, of course, keep that in mind. When either the first or the second stage of his move hits an opposing Pokemon, those Pokemon will drop some of their collected Aeos energy, and for a short time, they'll be unable to pick up Aeos energy. So basically, with each of the if you're able to hit the first and the second hit with each of those hits, you're knocking off 5 Aeos energy off of the opposing Pokemon, and you're able to deny them basically you're able to stop them from picking up energy for a short time. So you could basically steal 10 energy points from them and add them to your total, which is really dumb. It's really dumb. And when either stage of this move hits opposing Pokemon that do not have Aeos energy, those Pokemon will be left unable to act and for a longer duration. So basically, if this move hits a Pokemon that has no Aeos energy, they basically the effect of them being unable to act will be stronger and will have a longer duration, basically. So yeah, it's pretty crazy. It's pretty crazy. So, and then while using this move, the user receives reduced damage, which is really nice because Sableye isn't the most tanky Pokemon in the game. It is pretty squishy, but with this move, while you're using this move, you're basically taking reduced damage. So you're basically taking slightly lesser damage than what you would normally, of course. And then when you get the upgrade level 10, for a short time after this move is used, the next time the user picks up Aeos energy, the user recovers HP and has its movement speed increased, which I think is really nice, which is really hilarious, which is really funny, because this gives Sableye some heal and makes you move faster. So I think the movement speed is definitely something that Sableye has a huge thing going for it. So I think knockoff is definitely better right now, but I could be wrong. Anyways, going into level 6 now, you have a choice between Feint Attack and Confuse Ray. So, talk about Feint Attack first, which I haven't been using this move here. So, what this move does is has the user throw dummy Aeos energy to a designated location. While dummy Aeos energy remains at a location, that location and the area around it will be visible to the user. Dummy Aeos energy can remain at up to 5 locations at a time. If an opposing Pokemon picks up dummy Aeos energy, that energy explodes, dealing damage over time to that Pokemon, and decreases its movement speed for a short time. Maximum of 3 uses can be kept in reserve for this move. So this move is hilarious because you could just make it like you dropped some Aeos energy. Your team will be able to know if it's fake because obviously if you're on the same team with the Sableye, if they use this move, they drop the energy. But if the enemy team sees it, they're gonna think that, oh, this is real energy, but only for it to find out that it's fake, and then they're gonna take damage over time and slow them down pretty much. So I think the move is pretty funny, but I don't think it's really that great. I think Confuse Ray is where it really shines. So Confuse Ray, let's talk about it here. Has the user fire a sinister ray in a designated direction, dealing the damage to opposing Pokemon it hits. If this move hits Pokemon from the opposing team, it also leaves them confused. While confused, Pokemon continuously attack nearby Pokemon with basic attacks. Confused Pokemon will target nearby Pokemon in the following order of priority. First, their ally Pokemon. Then, wild Pokemon, last Pokemon on the user's team. So, the effects, of course, are for a short period, but if you're able to hit a Pokemon with Confuse Ray and confuse them, if they happen to have any teammates near them, they will target them priority first, then wild Pokemon, and then finally Pokemon on your team basically. So yeah, Confuse Ray is definitely really good. Being able to confuse enemies and and have them, you know, make me be able to potentially make them do your bidding basically for a short period, which is hilarious. And then when you get the upgrade, it also increases the movement speed and basic attack speed of Pokemon from the opposing team while this move has left them confused. Now, I don't like that part of it, but it is, of course, for a short period while they're confused. So, it only affects them for a short period, so I don't think that's that big of a big deal. But that upgrade can also be a bit of a slight drawback. But I think it's really hilarious of what you're able to do with Confuse Ray. You can pretty much have a Pokemon do your bidding basically. It's so ridiculous, honestly. So yeah, I think Confuse Ray definitely is better than Feint Attack, but maybe people might find a way to make Feint Attack work. Maybe you could drop Aeos energy in the enemy jungle, or maybe not enemy jungle, but maybe you could drop them. Oh yeah, you could probably do it. You could drop it where the Accelgor and the Excavalier usually spawn, and then drop Aeos energy there, thinking, oh, Sableye probably stole it already. Go for there, and then if they go for it and they happen to go into that spot, that'd be one funny way to utilize it. But I think honestly, Confuse Ray is just overall better. Now let's go ahead and talk about Sableye's Unite move, which is it's called Chaos Glower. Now this is Sableye's Unite move, so let's talk about how this works. So has the user shoot light from both of his eyes, dealing damage to opposing Pokemon in the area of effect in front of itself. Pokemon from the opposing team hit by this move who are facing the user freezes in place and start involuntarily preparing to return to base. If they take damage before returning to base, they remain where they are and are left unable to act for a short time. Opposing Pokemon hit by this move who are not facing the user have their movement speed decreased for a short time. So, this is a Unite move that if you place it correctly, this move makes it so if the enemy happens to face you while you use this Unite, you're basically sending them back to base. I think it's really hilarious. Of course, 9 out of 10, the base effect usually doesn't apply here because, especially when it comes to team fights, if you use your Unite and you're trying to send them back to base and your team is inadvertently hits them while they're going back to base, it just basically negates this effect altogether. But, however, they do have the effect in which, if they do attack, if they do take damage before returning to base, they basically stay where they are and are left unable to act for a short time. So basically they get stunned. from it, so that's still at least something. Although it would be hilarious to if one day catch an enemy team slacking and make them go back to base while my team takes Rayquaza for whatever reason. That'll be hilarious to pull off one day. But obviously, you know, with team fights being a thing, it's gonna be slightly more difficult to do. But I still think this is kind of ridiculous, hilarious of a Unite move, honestly. So it's pretty funny. It's pretty funny. So yeah, that's Sableye Unite. This Pokemon is an absolute menace, guys. As you guys already know about that. Everybody should know about what Sableye does and why it is a thorn in the game, of course, and why this Pokemon is just ridiculous right now, honestly. So, should you use your Aeos coins to buy this Pokemon? I think you should, because this Pokemon is really ridiculous. And not in terms of doing damage, but being able to hinder the enemy team, which is really ridiculous. You could invade jungle with this. You can literally just collect Aeos energy after the team fights, and then you could literally just collect energy and then score it. And then the funny thing about it is that you're able to before you score, you're coming off a stealth, so if you have enough points, you can literally just score. It's gonna be hard to stop Sableye if you're not close enough, basically. And you could run stuff like Score Shield, which is what I personally run for Sableye, which I'm gonna go over my build of Sableye, what I run it, and then talk about it a little bit. But basically, this Pokemon's ridiculous, and if you're looking for a Pokemon to hinder the enemy team hard and really, slow them down, hinder them quite a bit, Sableye is definitely a great pickup. But of course, you have to, of course, know how this Pokemon works and know its tools and kit and everything like that. So yeah, Sableye is definitely a thorn in this game, in a lot of people's wig, and I could definitely understand why, because being able to enter stealth, being able to take Aeos energy, just being able to do a lot with this, it's just so dumb, honestly. But this is a supporter that I think it's really good. It's still really good, despite the nerf that he got to Shadow Sneak and to his other stuff there. But this Pokemon is really crazy right now, honestly. So now we're gonna go ahead and talk about my build and what I personally run on it. So, and then to wrap up this video, so if you guys do pick up Sableye, you want to try it for yourself, this is what I use. So I go knock off Confuse Ray because I'm basically trying to take as much energy, Aeos energy from the enemy team as much as I possibly can. So I go knock off Confuse Ray, and then I run Float Stone, I run Score Shield, and I run Focus Band. So obviously Float Stone is great. Float Stone is great for Sableye here because because this increases your movement speed by 20% when the Pokemon's not in combat. So basically, when you're maneuvering around the field, Float Stone raises your movement speed. Basically, it also increases your attack a little bit, which is nice. Sableye is not really the best Pokemon to do damage with, but it could still do some work, of course. I run Score Shield because one thing that Sableye shines really well at is scoring, and once you're able to help your team with the team fights, if you're able to collect a lot of Aeos energy, especially if you run knockoff, you're able to take Aeos energy from the opposing team while you're in the team fight. You could take those points and score, and then when you score, this will give you a shield equal to 10% of its HP. And then the higher the Pokemon's level, the stronger the shield will be. So basically, the higher the level, the stronger your shield will be. And then the Pokemon's goals cannot be interrupted while it has dash shields, which is really nice. So this is something that's really nice to have for Sableye, I think, personally. Like, people will probably opt to run something else, but I like this because being able to get those points in is definitely really nice to have. Especially with Sableye being able to come out of stealth mode before scoring. I think it's really hilarious. And then I just run Focus Band to... I like Focus Band over anything else because this basically means, like, if you do overextend a little bit and then the enemy team catches you, you want to try to at least be able to survive a little bit. So I like Focus Band. People have also tried Leftovers, and I think Leftovers is also not a bad idea. But personally, I like Focus Band more than Leftovers because, Leftovers is only good if you're able to maneuver, basically. But if you're not maneuvering, its effect is most of the time, if you do get caught out by the enemy team, it's really not going to come in handy. Versus Focus Band, which if you do go low HP, this will give you some HP It will recover 14% of the HP it had lost, so that'll always be nice to have so it can survive longer. So that's why I personally run Focus Bend. So with this, it gives you 450 HP, 150 movement speed, and then a little bit of attack, and then some defense as well too. So for Sableye, so that's really comes in handy, of course. And then of course, let's talk about the emblem build I run, because the main thing with this build is all about that. It's all about that movement speed here, of course. Obviously, this is not a build. This is obviously not the build. This is a build for another Pokemon I'm working on. So here's the movements. Here's my emblem build. I just recently did a slight change to it. So it has seven. I have 7 yellow, 2 white, and 2 brown. Now, in case you guys don't know what the yellow is basically gives you a more movement speed. So because I have 7, this gives me a 12% movement speed increase while out of combat. Plus being able, and plus with all the emblems I have here, we have Pichu that gives movement speed, Electro that gives movement speed, Voltorb, Aerodactyl, which gives movement speed, which I didn't think that it does, but apparently it does, which is pretty cool, as you can see here. And then you have Dugtrio, which gives movement speed, Dodrio that gives movement speed, and then the only ones that don't give movement speed in this album build is Magneton, Pikachu, and Lantern. But I keep those here because they are yellow emblems, and I do need those to keep because I want to have as much movement speed as possible with this build, so you're able to maneuver yourself all around the field, and you're able to move so fast with this thing. This build is ridiculous. I think it's honestly ridiculous what Sableye is capable of with this, with how fast you can move with Sableye with this, honestly. And then I just have 2 white and 2 brown because, you know, I have Dugtrio and Aerodactyl. Aerodactyl gives brown, as does Dugtrio, but Dugtrio here gives speed, basically. And then it also fits in nicely because it also gives attack, so that works. So I have a little bit more HP as well, even though it does have negative 50 HP as it is. You do have HP, and then that's also why I run the Scorchio, because Scorchio gives 450 HP, which is nice. And then a little bit of attack that also doesn't hurt. So Sableye doesn't is not its attacks aren't baby poop damage basically. So you have basically a whole lot of movement around the field when it comes to that. So, anyways, guys, that's my build. You're free to change it up to whatever you think it works better for you. But I think this Pokemon honestly is just ridiculous, and I think this Pokemon just they nerfed it a few times, but yet it's still being an annoying nuisance in the game. So. Anyways, guys, that's gonna be my intake look into Sableye. Sorry for this video being pretty long, but there's quite a bit to go over. But yeah, this Pokemon's definitely worth it for sure with your Aeos coins. In case you guys are curious, of course. Anyways, guys, don't forget if you guys did enjoy this video, don't forget to drop a like, subscribe if you haven't, and of course hit the bell. I will be having a video of myself talking about the latest patch notes changes pretty soon. So stay tuned for that. So thank you guys for watching, and I will catch you guys next time. Take care.